600 feet under West Virginia, there is no sunrise. A man named Dale checks his watch, not to see the time, but to remember it exists. He has been underground for 4 hours. He has 4 more to go. The air smells like wet stone and diesel. Somewhere behind him, a machine the size of a school bus is chewing through a coal seam 38 inches high, low enough that Dale spends most of his shift on his knees. He will go home tonight and shower twice. He will still find coal dust behind his ears. For this, he makes close to $90,000 a year. No 4-year degree, no student loans, just 8 weeks of training and a willingness to go somewhere most Americans will never see. There are fewer than 40,000 underground coal miners left in the entire country. That number used to be over 100,000. The ones who remain are among the highest paid workers in America who never sat in a college classroom. So how much does coal mining actually pay? And is it worth what it takes from you? Coal mining in America splits into 2 very different jobs. Surface mining, stripping coal from open pits, mostly in Wyoming's Powder River Basin, and underground mining, the older, harder, better-paying version concentrated in Appalachia, West Virginia, Kentucky, and western Pennsylvania. Roughly 40,000 people still work underground. Most are men, mostly in their 30s and 40s, many following fathers and grandfathers into the same seams. The industry has shrunk by more than half since 2000 as coal-fired power plants closed and natural gas got cheap. But the mines that remain haven't gotten easier. If anything, they've gotten more efficient, more mechanized, and more demanding of the workers who stay. A single underground mine can still be the largest employer in its county. In parts of West Virginia, a coal job isn't just a paycheck. It's the paycheck the entire local economy is built on. Here's the number that matters. A first-year underground miner starts around $18 to $22 an hour, roughly $38,000 to $45,000 annually before overtime. That's the entry price for a job with no college requirement. It goes up fast. By year 5, a general inside labor running equipment is clearing $25 to $29 an hour, pushing $54,000 to $60,000 a year with regular overtime. Coal miners routinely work 50 to 60-hour weeks, and overtime past 40 hours is where the real money shows up. The top tier is where it gets interesting. Section foremen, certified electricians, and blasters, the specialists who keep a mine running and legal, can pull $40 to $50 an hour. Stack that with overtime and hazard differentials, and you're looking at $85,000 to $95,000 a year. In a unionized mine in West Virginia or Pennsylvania, that number climbs higher still because union contracts lock in shift differentials, health coverage, and a pension that most blue-collar jobs stopped offering decades ago. Non-union mines pay less for the same work, sometimes 15 to 20% less, but they're more common now than they were 30 years ago. Location matters just as much as tenure. A miner in a productive, high-output seam in southern West Virginia will out-earn an equally experienced miner in a smaller, lower-volume Kentucky operation. What actually hits the bank account is smaller than the headline number. After taxes, mandatory retirement contributions, and union dues where they apply, a miner earning $90,000 on paper is often taking home closer to $62,000 to $68,000. And unlike a salaried office job, that income isn't guaranteed. A mine can idle for weeks during a slow coal market, and hourly workers don't get paid to sit at home. The day starts before 4 in the morning in a gravel parking lot lit by sodium lamps. Trucks pull in one after another, most of them 10 years old, paid off because a mortgage and a truck payment at the same time doesn't work on this schedule. In the bathhouse, a miner strips out of his street clothes and into coveralls that never quite lose the smell of the mine. He clips on a self-rescuer, an emergency breathing device that, by federal law, never leaves his body underground. He checks his headlamp battery. He checks it again. The cage elevator drops fast enough to make your stomach lift. In under a minute, daylight is gone completely. What's left is a world lit only by headlamps and the amber glow of machine panels. A maze of tunnels, some tall enough to stand in, some so low that 600 pounds of a man's weight rests permanently on his knees and forearms. The noise is constant, a continuous miner machine grinding into rock, conveyor belts groaning under tons of coal moving toward the surface, roof bolters drilling supports into stone overhead, because the single greatest fear down here isn't the machinery, it's the roof. Every foot of tunnel has to be bolted, tested, and trusted with your life. There's a rhythm to it that outsiders never see. Crews develop their own language of grunts and hand signals over engine noise. There's a running joke on Dale's crew about who brings the worst lunch, a ritual that survived 3 different mine operators. Someone always has extra batteries. Someone always checks on the new guy twice as often as anyone admits to. Lunch is 20 minutes, eaten sitting on a rock or a supply cart because there's nowhere else to sit. Then it's back to the face, the working end of the tunnel, for another 4 hours of the same grinding, drilling, hauling rhythm until the cage finally pulls the crew back toward the surface and the first real light in 8 hours. The paycheck doesn't show you black lung disease, coal workers' pneumoconiosis, caused by decades of breathing coal and silica dust, is making a documented comeback in Central Appalachia, hitting miners younger than it used to, some in their 30s and 40s instead of their 60s. It's permanent. There's no cure, only management. It doesn't show you the knees. Underground miners who spend years working low seams develop chronic joint damage that no amount of protective gear fully prevents. Hearing loss from decades of machine noise is close to universal by retirement age, and every miner carries quietly an awareness of the roof, the mines that didn't hold, the names still spoken in Appalachian towns decades after a collapse. It costs time nobody gets back. Rotating shifts mean missed dinners, missed games, missed years where a miner's kids simply grew up around a schedule instead of a person. Mining towns have some of the highest rates of shift-related divorce in blue-collar America, not because the men don't want to be there, but because the schedule doesn't leave room for much else. There's a ceiling too. Underground mining is a young man's job in a way few people admit out loud. By 50, the body has usually made the decision the mind hasn't. Knees, back, lungs start dictating what's possible. Some move into surface or supervisory roles. Others simply can't do the job anymore and have to start over in their 50s with no transferable credential outside the industry. And there's the volatility. A miner might invest a career in a company town only to watch the mine idle or close when a coal contract falls through or a plant shuts down 2 states away. A decision made in a boardroom he'll never see, for reasons that have nothing to do with how hard he worked. Most people who quit don't quit over the danger. They quit over the schedule, the toll on the body, or a mine closure that leaves them with nowhere left to work. So, is it worth it? This job is right for you if you want real money without a 4-year degree, if you can handle physical discomfort as a daily condition rather than an occasional inconvenience, and if you value a tight-knit crew and a community where the work actually means something to the people around you. For a lot of miners, this isn't just income, it's identity, inherited from a father or grandfather tied to a place they have no intention of leaving. This job will destroy you if you can't tolerate confined, dark spaces for 8 hours at a stretch, if your body already carries joint or respiratory issues, or if you're chasing this paycheck without accepting that the industry itself is shrinking and the mine you start at may not be the mine you retire from. Is it worth it? For the men who stay in it past year 5, genuinely, yes. In the way any hard, honest, well-paid trade is worth it. The money is real. The pension, where it still exists, is real. But it's worth it specifically because they've made peace with the trade-off. Your body pays a toll the salary never fully covers, and you're betting your career on an industry that's been shrinking for 25 straight years. Go in with open eyes about both, and it's one of the last blue-collar jobs in America that can still buy a house, a truck, and a retirement without a single semester of college. Every light you've had on while watching this video, coal helped build the system that keeps it running. These are the men still doing it, 600 feet down, long after most of the country stopped thinking about where electricity actually comes from. If you work or worked in a coal mine, tell us what we got right and what we didn't. We read every comment,